most challenging is making people believe you when you're saying that start with 1-star characters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like we have a slight meme in the Discord. The meme is like experienced board gamer. It's like a phrase. Like it's like somebody new comes in. Like so we're gonna play. Like which characters would you recommend? We're like
Yeah,
the recommended one in the rulebook, and
yeah,
they're like
yeah.
yeah, but we're experienced board gamers. Yeah, like yeah, still the still the recommended ones, please.
Welcome to Cardboard Creations, where we discuss the process, techniques, and inspiration for designing board games. I'm your host, Candice Harris, and I am super duper excited to be here today with Arty Nichipurov to find out how Guards of Atlantis II was created. But first, let's jump into a brief overview of how Guards of Atlantis II works. Guards of Atlantis II is a competitive, zero-luck, team-based board game for 4 to 10 players inspired by computer games of the MOBA genre. In the game, each player controls a single hero and uses their hero's unique cards to move around the game board, activate special abilities, and attack enemies. Defeating enemy minions earns you coins, which are used to level up your hero with upgraded cards. One team wins the game immediately if they manage to push into the enemy base and capture it, or if they defeat enemy heroes until they run out of life counter tokens. Otherwise, the team that wins the lane push when the final wave counter token is removed wins the game. Hey Arty, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Candice, really happy to be here. Feeling great.
I've exchanged emails with you multiple times, but it's nice to finally sort of meet you via video chat at least.
Likewise.
Thank you. So my good friend Jordan introduced me to Guards of Atlantis 2 about maybe 2 years ago. We played a 3v3, 6-player game, and it was really, really fun. Enough for me to want to back the second printing of Guards of Atlantis 2. And
Nice.
yeah, and just about a month or, a month ago or so, I got it. I received everything, and I immediately, within a couple of days, got a 6-player game together. And it just had so many amazing, fun moments. And since then, I think I've played it about 6 times, which is not even enough. This is the kind of game that I would love to play every week or multiple times a week, because it's so fascinating. It's such a cool design because the rules are not complex per se, but you have all these awesome asymmetric heroes, and then plus the interaction with your teammates. The strategy is so deep, and it's just it's a game that's going to kind of keep giving. I need to, obviously I'm terrible at it so far, but I'm working up to being able to play the level 2 heroes and everything. But anyway, it's just a super cool game, and I can already tell this is a game I'm going to be playing for years and years and years, and it's one of my favorites already. So I gotta know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what initially inspired you to create Guards of Atlantis? Because I know you had an original Guards of Atlantis, which I've never played, but what made you start there, and how did you then decide to make Guards of Atlantis 2?
It's a funny story, really. So I think Guards is a good example of this view that restriction kind of breeds creativity. So it was essentially a design made out of necessity, because at that point I just joined the Wolff Designa, the company part of this moment for the last almost 10 years now.
Cool.
And basically they had a game that they wanted to kickstart at that time. It was the first game in the process, and a decision was made that we need to remake it. And basically I joined, and I was presented with essentially assets which we had. Okay, we have these sculpts, we have some art, do something with it.
Right.
And I'm okay, so but how do I make a game with these like assorted characters, and because we were very small at the time, we're still small, and like getting a lot of new artwork was expensive, still is.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, and I was playing Dota at that time, and I'm like, wait a minute, like in a MOBA, you don't really care like which characters there are, right? It can be anything. So, and I'm like, but how do I make a MOBA? Is there any MOBAs? And I went to check, like, do we have a actually board game MOBA?
Right.
And at that time, I think like Rum and Bones was just crowdfunding, or it was like almost at that time. So basically, I didn't find it. I'm like, oh, I guess
Gotcha.
there's none. So I guess I have to make one.
Yes.
Uh,
Love it.
so this is a long story how I actually got to the making the MOBA thing. But
Cool.
then, yeah, it was just a standard design process. You take an idea and you iterate until it works. Uh, so started with Guards 1, uh, released that. It was relatively well received in a, small bubble where we could reach. And then basically after some time, we just iterated on it some more, and now you have Guards 2.
Cool, cool. That's fantastic. So when you decided to iterate on it and like you guys wanted to make Guards 2, did you have anything in particular in mind that you wanted to quote unquote fix or
Oh,
update?
absolutely.
Cuz yeah, I'm not
Absolutely.
I'm not familiar with how the original game looked. I've seen some pictures on BGG and everything, but I'm not familiar with exactly how the mechanisms work on the old version.
Okay, so it's another great lesson to learn. Like that one was basically it's a very standard thing. Like all designers like say this lesson like all the time, but it's not always easy to understand where it actually applies, and that was one for me. So you need to understand what the fun is, and then make the game about that part. And so in a mobile game, what people would like to do is to obviously bash their friends on the head using cards, right, in the
and
board
and
game.
and Arty, not to interrupt you, but for people who don't know what a MOBA game is, because I think I only know what it is from Guards of Atlantis, but I've never
Okay.
played any MOBA games. What is it, multiplayer online or something?
Um, Multiplayer online battle arena,
Okay.
uh, we, for which we got a bit of flack because yes, but you're not online. But we're like,
Right.
yeah, sure, we're offline battle arena. But anyway, um, I digress.
Yeah.
Um, so MOBA is a game, is a video game genre, which was developed out of essentially mode for Warcraft 3, where the idea is that it's a multiplayer game, usually in teams of five. So team of five versus team of five. Each player controls a character, and then they have like lanes where you have minions which are controlled by the game, who are trying to push into the enemy base, and heroes need to get in, kill the minions, and basically capture the enemy base. Which is basically what Guards is, right? With
Right.
some
Right.
kind of minor details. MOBAs are usually all very complex games with a lot of mechanisms and a lot of things you can try to simulate. So when making Guards was basically, it was like what we throw out, right? That was probably the main kind of idea. But
Hmm.
in the process of throwing out things, right? Part of the game, part of the MOBA, both video game and the tabletop game, is like heroes need to fight heroes, right? And the first Guards uh, had very little of that. It actually was very focused on killing minions.
Ah,
Uh, like you could defeat heroes, but it was both like less efficient, but also more punishing. And
gotcha.
so the main difference, there are a lot of differences, but the main difference, if you like, try to find like a very clear, quick answer, the main difference is uh, there's more focus on team fights, and the team fights at the same time are less punishing. And Guards is punishing game, so you can imagine how punishing the first one was.
Awesome, awesome. And just out of curiosity, because again, I'm not like a big video gamer and I've never played a MOBA video game. But did you have any particular like MOBA games that you have played and were like inspired by?
I have absolutely absurd amount of my hours of my life spent in Dota 2.
Okay,
I will
okay.
not say, I will not, I don't want to reveal publicly how many. So,
Got it,
yeah, I,
got it.
I still play it every now and then, actually. But yeah.
Was this like I know you have Warp Gate also, which is like a fast 4X game that you designed. Did you have anything else earlier? Like I don't know the timing of when Warp Gate was designed versus the original Guards.
So, Guards was the first game that Wolff Designa published, and it happened to be my first published design as well. I dabbled with board game design before that. Like, I had a number of games, but I never really even considered publishing. Like, it were those were basically games made like for me and my friends, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
Funny enough, there was an idea to like kickstart Warpgate first, because Warpgate was made before Guards.
Oh, interesting.
And we, like me and a friend of mine were looking for like maybe like Kickstarter it or something. And then I met the guys from Wolff Design and basically we joined teams, and that's how Guards came to be.
Awesome.
Mostly because they were already kind of further into the making assets part. It
Sure,
was
sure.
so long ago, though. Like we and we had no idea what we were doing at the time. So
Well, it ended up turning out to something amazing. So
thank you.
everything has to start somewhere. Did you have any particular board games that inspired you when you were designing the original Guards?
Not really. I think the only thing that I stole, I think the system about using both the area control and hex grid movement, not area control, sorry, area movement and hex grid movement. I think I've seen some like in the works war game on BGG, but like I wish I remember which one. But again,
Oh,
it was like
yeah.
it was some unpublished game like 10 years ago. So
Gotcha, gotcha.
if I stole your idea, thank you very much. It helped me.
Well, what kind of board games do you typically enjoy? Like, what are some of your favorites?
Very difficult question. So
Yes, I know.
when you start when you start making games, is like the problem is you start basically you cannot just enjoy games anymore. You take a game and then you're like, okay, let's take a scalpel, and and that
Yes.
kind of comes into the way of enjoyment really. But if I had to name a few recent ones which I really enjoyed, I I love Ankh. I think it's
Unk.
amazing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, absolutely amazing. The amount of stuff it does with like with the design so lean, doing
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
Really, really,
It's
really great.
fantastic.
I love Heat.
Ah,
Uh,
cool.
Played that one again obscene amount of times on Board Game Arena. And
Cool.
of the oldies, I enjoy Memoir 44 of all things.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've actually never played that, surprisingly enough.
Memoir, you can give it a try. It's probably already showing its age, maybe right now, but it's like basically entry level war game.
Right.
Um, so it's I wouldn't say that it's gateway though. Like
Gotcha.
it's not. But by the time it was released, maybe it was. But I don't think today it would be called a gateway.
Gotcha.
It's pretty good. You
Gotcha.
can give it a try.
Cool, cool. Well, let's talk about prototyping. You have a very unique story where you came into this situation where you have assets and you're being asked to kind of make a game out of those assets. How do you create prototypes? How did you work on cards and the map and all that?
When I just started, it was pretty kind of standard. It's like you make a prototype, you invite friends over for a pizza, and then you play test it. I am pretty sure that I would not be able to make this game if I continued that way, because the number of plays it requires to kind of make everything smooth cannot be done in that way. Luckily, a friend of mine, German designer Jochen Eisenhut, and he basically showed me Tabletopia. He was playtesting in Tabletopia, I know that everybody's using Tabletop Simulator, but I'm used to Tabletop. So,
Okay, okay, yeah.
so it's just simpler, leaner, easier for me to use.
Cool.
And I basically started doing that. The problem for me personally is that I'm from Latvia. Latvia is a country of less than 2 million.
Ah,
So finding people like finding designers, forget it. Finding even just people to play board games with, especially 20 years ago,
yeah.
not an easy task. So tabletop, it was a lifesaver. It just gave me access to unlimited number of playtesters in theory, because it was hard to get playtesters at the start.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. And I know you can like with Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator, you can just iterate so much faster with prototypes.
And it helps me as well because my approach may be wrong. I like to like make a lot of changes in the short span and
Hmm.
like stress test it. And tabletop, it really helps with that. Like we have a Discord for Guards where the playtester community is, and I have like changelog there, and the changelog is basically like several records per day, I think.
Wow.
And like it would be a bit difficult to do with like physical prototyping and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, digital prototyping. Yeah, that's
Awesome. And even when you were creating your Tabletopia prototype, what like do you use or how do you create like graphics and stuff like that you were using for your prototype?
so depends on the game, I guess. Here's the thing. So there is a common advice that like your prototype doesn't need to look pretty. I think this is nonsense. Like if you want to get playtesters, it has to absolutely look pretty.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to like at the very start. You should not be doing that at the start. Like it's enough to have a like first test of guards was like a piece of paper and like A4 with some grids printed out.
Gotcha.
But as soon as you want to have somebody like suffer through playtesting your prototype, it has to. You need to do the some effort for it to look at least a bit evoking a theme. Uh, how to do it? I used to just Google images. Now, depending on your view on AI, you can grab AI. I don't think it's bad for prototyping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it might be a waste of time. Sometimes I think it's faster to use just Google for some images and just use them. As long as you're not like trying to publish it or post it somewhere, I don't think anybody would care.
Just find images and icons and just kind of
Oh, icons, I use a specific site. For icons, I use, let me find it. The site is actually gameicons.net. I'm pretty sure it's very, very, very popular because I know that I see so many prototypes, and I'm like, I know where you got this icon from.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So let's talk about playtesting more. I know, you just said you playtested on Tabletopia with people around the world, I presume. What was your playtesting process like, and how did you like collect feedback and put that into your giant changelog?
So, so, so for Guard specifically, it evolved because we're doing this almost 10 years now,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. But at first, like when you're not published, nobody cares, nobody knows you, nobody played your games, like there's little trust. You have to like, I don't know, catch people on the street and force them to play test your game. And
Yeah.
so the first guards, it was basically some people that I've met on the internet. Some of them are still playtesting guards, by the way.
That's cool.
Uh, so, and we just play it on tabletop. It was usually like, it was nice if we got four people. Sometimes like several days we cannot get four people, at the same time. And
Yeah,
then, well,
yeah.
no people cannot test. And like problem with guards is like you play the game, you understand, how important basically the interactions between different players on the team. Like it's near impossible to solo playtest,
Right. Oh yeah.
and like you really need like ideally those four people. Yeah, but as the game kind of got more polished, especially after we got published, then it was slightly easier to get people interested in playtesting it. At some point, I basically I made a Discord server just as an idea. Like, I mean, everybody's making Discord server. Let me make a Discord server. Like, it's not costing me anything. Why not?
Right,
And it
right.
was like the best decision like of my life. Like, if you don't have a Discord server and you're making a game, go make a Discord server. And like have a place where people can discuss your game. And so back to your question. Sorry,
Yeah,
I tend to
that's
veer
okay.
off.
No worries.
So initially it was me playing, and basically all the time, like me playing and other people, right? And then we
Yes.
discuss,
Yeah.
and then we do changes. Eventually, like the community grew. And so I don't always play. Like sometimes, like basically, people would just write feedback, and then I read that feedback and I analyze that feedback based on like who made that feedback,
Gotcha,
and like
gotcha.
and then I try to fix it basically. And these days with Guard specifically, I can allow myself to actually not playtest myself, uh, but for some time. Eventually, I need to go in and make sure that I feel comfortable with where we are. But now I have people who I kind of trust their opinion enough. I know where they are, because it's a reason I don't really believe in blind play testing early is because when you're blind play testing, you don't know where the person is coming from. Because like if
Mm,
person A is giving me like this feedback and person B is giving me feedback, the same feedback may mean completely different things because I know that person A is less critical, for example, and would like
right,
not
right.
not want to hurt my feelings. And so if that person is like, yeah, I'm not sure, that might be like thing, maybe it's not a problem. It is definitely a problem.
Right.
Like if like if Ryan says that it's a problem, it is a freaking problem. You need to
Yeah,
fix
yeah.
it. um, yeah, I guess the more you work on the same game, and the more you work with the same people, the better you get with both understanding. Like when you pull a lever and something breaks, you understand all the connections why it broke, and you know how to
Gotcha.
fix it better.
So the heroes, I
Mm-hmm.
forget if there are like 28 or so, with all the expansions. 32?
32 and
32?
three more, 32 and three more in testing.
Okay. So there's 32. Out of those 32, like how many came over from the original Guards of Atlantis? I guess when you're playtesting and you have so many asymmetric heroes, how did you like go through your playtesting with all these different heroes?
In the first one, we had 11. Uh, it was actually 10, but one hero was two models. We changed
Gotcha.
that in Guards too. The Hano and Wook, the chimp and the ape, they
Yeah.
were like one hero who you control. It was weird. You can I can talk about this for another half an hour. Anyway, so basically, I approach this as you would approach an illustration. I'm not an artist, but I did some art classes
Okay. Okay.
decades ago. Decades ago. And so what my art class teacher was telling me, that you have to be able to like stop at any point and the image should be complete. Like it might not be like the most detailed you can make it, but like everything everywhere should be ideally at the same kind of level of completion and
Gotcha.
detailing. So I guess with Guards, the game, like I could see the full picture when it was like 7 heroes, 11 heroes. At this time, I think it bypassed my capacity to kind of see the full roster. So I just like, okay, we're just fixing here, fixing here. Oh, that thing broke. Fixing here, and just through sheer volume of games, just trying to see where things fall off, and like where things fall off, you try to understand why it did, and then you fix this thing. And usually, what happens is once you fix one problem, you then retroactively go like, oh, I have this same issue, and then you go back and fix that as well. But I guess there's no like the answer is just iteration. Like you just play a lot and
Yeah.
fix a lot.
I guess
I don't think yeah, I don't think there is a silver bullet, It's just
No, I hear you there. Um, I guess was there like did you keep a list of like, hey, here are all the heroes, like this one's good to go now, we feel good about this, because it's like also like how the heroes interact with each other is fascinating, and it seems just like it's like a crazy playtesting experience.
So, so the thing is with guards again, because like, um, because first because how long it was, like it's now easier for me to predict. Like it used to be, I make a character and it like 100% breaks. Like I need to play myself first time because I know that I will have to fix like immediately.
Gotcha.
Now I hit closer to home more often, but still it's probably broken. It's no, it's guaranteed broken on the first attempt. But still, um, I guess I veered off again. Those
Oh
original
no, no,
question.
it's okay. I'm just curious about like how you kept track of play testing the individual heroes.
Right. So we usually, I'm a bit controlled as well by the what community kind of feels like playing, sort of, right? So my approach is, we don't have paid play testing, right? It's everything is like volunteers, like they want to play the game. I think actually a big part of our community is mostly playing the game, and playtesting is like
That's
a
cool.
side effect of it, actually.
Gotcha.
So, and I guess I just monitor what's happening and see like, okay, this character is not being played at all,
Mm.
and I can ask like, guys, what's the problem? Like, is the theme not cool? Is it like not strong enough? Of course, there are also some tricks, like you release new character, you make it stronger, so that everybody is like excited to try it, and you deliberately make it stronger, so they just keep playing it because I need
Yeah.
it tested. So they play it, and then I nerf it down, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but for guards specifically, one thing that helps and how it's actually possible to balance this big roster is because there are elements of the game which are uh, basically like its bones. For example, no character should be able to take two minions in round one. It's
Mm,
like
right.
a hard rule. A hard rule. I need to go for every card, make sure that's not possible, right? So,
Gotcha.
like characters take two minions at tier two. They can only take three at tier three. Nobody can take four.
Yeah,
And these
yeah.
things, like they are like rules for designing basically the character for guards, and they're like underneath. Like players don't need to know about them, but they
Right.
exist. And if you just follow those things, it kind of does, I don't know, 30% of work for you. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
that's
know,
awesome. The next thing I got to ask you about is the cards. The cards are so cool because you only have a hand of 5 cards, and you have like 5 different types of cards, and 3 of them you will be leveling up as you play the game, and the choices of which one to level up because the other one you get to tuck and everything, it's just really really cool and like such a slick design. Like how did you come up with that like card system?
thank you. Again, this is my best. This is my favorite story. Actually, we need to go back to Guards One here.
Okay, let's go.
Remember, I was saying that like restriction breeds creativity.
Yes.
So one of the restrictions in Guards One, we could not do a lot of minis. Like
Okay.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, for a MOBA, I need a lot of heroes. How do I make a lot of heroes with not a lot of minis? I
Mm.
make multiple heroes into the same mini. And that's how the leveling up system came to be. I just like,
Wow.
okay, so this is, here you're gonna be like a melee tank, here you're gonna be a sniper. It's the same character. Choose which one. So this
Oh,
is where it came
cool.
from. So restrict yourself. Like when you're designing, like it's the hardest thing is like design whatever you want. That's
Right.
like, no, you just narrow down, build a wall, and then try to climb outside of them. So at first, the guards in the original guards in the early prototypes, the cards were not following the branches, so branches were not a thing. So you could be like, okay, level one is like you smack somebody. Level two, you I don't know, you get a coin. Level three, you become immortal.
Okay.
Uh,
Gotcha.
and and like all the 5 cards, they were completely like all in all directions. And I was playing a game that was actually back when it was. physical
Okay.
prototype. And a friend of mine, she's like, I don't want to level up. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And so and she's like, I like my card. Like, I don't want to level up. Like,
Ooh,
I'm like, but
interesting.
this card is stronger. Like, why don't you want to level up? She's like, I like this one. And I'm like,
Ah,
okay, okay. And so this is why in Guards basically have two branches, and they're stronger versions of previous cards. So the next
right.
next tier is always like hard better. Like there's never a situation where like tier 3 card is like worse than tier 2. At
Right,
least there
right.
shouldn't be. If you find one, let me know.
That is so cool because yeah, I don't think I've seen that kind of approach to like leveling up a character in any other game. And yeah, it just works really well. It gives you flexibility and like you can replay the same hero multiple times and kind of pursue different branches, as you
Yeah,
say.
because that was the original kind of plan,
Yeah.
right? Like I needed to make like a lot of heroes out of not a lot of minis. But
Yeah.
the items thing, so in guards, like when you level up, you one card goes into your hand and the other becomes an item, right?
Sure.
And the item gives you a passive bonus. So uh, that item thing is really really helping with design because what it does it gives me another knob which I can basically move to for example, if the effect is very strong and the other one on the alternative branch is slightly weaker, I can then put a better item
Yeah.
on the weaker effect, right? And then
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that allows you like, oh, but I want this range, but I want this card, and like because the most important design like the balance thing in guards is actually making sure that both branches are viable.
Right.
Because like if one, it's a game with no randomness. So if one card is better, like always, you just why are you making the other one,
Right.
right?
Right.
So items help here a lot, right?
That is, oh man, that's so cool. So, at what point, and we'll go back to original guards for a minute, at what point did you start documenting rules?
Mm. I'm super lazy. I always do it super late. Uh, and another reason is because like I have to wear a lot of hats in Wolff Designa.
Okay.
One of the hats I'm wearing is actually rules editor and writer. So basically, I am the guy who opens the InDesign and just actually makes the document. And
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha.
because I don't like to do the same work twice,
Uh huh.
right? I try to move it like as far away as possible, and it helps that basically I play test digitally, so I don't need to send the rulebook to somebody. But
Right.
usually, I write first time I write the rulebook is when we're sending like preview copies before the campaign, because
Gotcha.
well, obviously you need to send people something that we can play the game. The only exception is so there's another game I'm working on right now, but I'm not working on it alone. I'm actually a developer, not the designer. The designer is a friend of mine. So,
Okay.
and in that case, you need to write it down because so that like you cannot hold like two copies, of the same rulebook in your
Right.
heads. So you write down so that both of you are on the same page. But again, this is not a rule book. It's more of a like quick reference, like very like skeletal form of
Gotcha.
like
Yeah.
things.
And I think that's another really cool thing with Guards of Atlantis. Like you don't really once you know the game, like the flow is very, every round you're doing kind of the same thing. I mean, the complexity is in how do the cards work? What am I doing? How do I play well? But it's kind of an intuitive, streamlined game. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's complexity, but it definitely it definitely feels like something after you play it once or twice where it's like, okay, yeah, I know. We play a card. We do stuff.
Yeah,
we have initiative.
this, this is very deliberate. Where basically I hate reading rule books as a player. Like absolutely, like I always try to cheat and find somebody who will teach me the game,
Yeah.
if I can. which is kind of weird for designer, I guess, but like I just really
Hey.
and the idea was to just make you read the rulebook as little as possible. Like you read it once, and then I try to. There is actually a hard design decision, which was like we don't change the base rules. Like if I need anything, I need to do it within the confines of the existing system. Like we did change very few, very minor things in the second printing. Like we added like the clear action. If you've seen,
Oh
that's
yeah.
new thing that. But it's again, it's minor thing which is essentially simplifying other stuff. But normally, like I would never like, oh, I need a character, but for that character, I need to add a new rule to the rule. Not gonna
Right.
happen.
Cool.
And this is basically how you get this. I guess it's a question of design philosophy, right? Like I just prefer this approach. Doesn't mean that the game which with a lot of system like cannot exist or should not exist. No, like there are all sorts of games for all sorts of players. But for me, I just try to stay on the lean side if
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, and it really works. So
Thank you.
when you were working on Guards of Atlantis 2 specifically, what would you say was your biggest challenge, like design wise, development wise, anything?
Mm, great question. Uh,
Thanks.
biggest challenge. Yeah, I guess the biggest challenge is probably balancing the branches. We kind of touched on it a bit, right? Like making sure that every card has a place. Um, because that kind of ensures replayability. That ensures that you can actually react what the other players are doing. And I think most of the time I'm spending on developing guards is actually devoted to this for the most part. If we talk about like the most difficult part of the design itself, I think it was the map. Like that took a while, and that was the thing that changed the least at some point because you have to like you make a map and then you balance everything around that map, right? Like
Yeah.
if you then change the map, then well you have to change all the cards. So
Right, right.
so I guess getting the map right was probably maybe not. I don't know if it was most challenging because it was a while and memory or kind of dims it down for me, but
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
the most important one for sure.
Wow, cool, cool. And did the map from Guards 1 kind of stay the same when you guys worked on Guards 2?
It's funny. So we have essentially three versions of the game right now. We have Guards One, which I consider like a separate game, and then we have first and second printing of Guards Two. So what we did in the second printing, and the Guards One had two maps, and Guards Two had two maps. Second printing of Guards Two has one map from Guards One, almost unchanged, and one
Oh,
map from Guards Two first printing. Because the two lane map is from the
yeah.
original game, basically, almost unchanged. Because it just actually like turned out to be better, I think, for most players.
Cool.
That doesn't mean that the other maps like are like bad or something, but it's just the most versatile for the player count because it works at 6, at 8, at 10, and it was also the one that we made actually first. It was the first map for the guards where most playtesting was happening back in the day. But the most playtesting now in like Tabletopia is focused around the standard one, the one lane map, because again, because there are so many characters, right? You cannot balance them all for all the maps. It's just not feasible.
Right.
So we needed to decide like which one is the vanilla,
Right.
what's our standards. So
Yeah.
the island one, the single lane map from actually both printing of Guards too. That's the one that's the most like the most polished for the roster.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, maps. I don't like. Um, I don't know how important are the maps really for Guards specifically because I think in League of Legends it's one of the I think the most popular MOBA. They have like multiple maps. In Dota, they just have one. And I think for a MOBA, mostly the kind of the depth and the replayability comes from like trying new heroes. So kind of we have maps because people want them, but yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I ended up getting the both of them, both the double-sided neoprene mats. But yeah, I don't know like when I will be tired of playing the main one. Like there's just so much to explore with, like you said, with the different characters on that main vanilla map.
So the smaller map, you could try it with 4 players because it will be a bit more constrained. So it can be a fresh take for 4 players, right? But for 6, definitely stick to the default one.
Gotcha.
And for 8 and 10, try the 2 lane. So there you go. A quick.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It.
It's so funny. I'm like I'm telling you this, and I'm realizing that most people are playing any game like 5 times. If like the games that I love, like I played
Yeah.
maybe like 7 times.
Right, right. But not,
So
yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping to in a couple weeks actually. I'm probably going to be able to play like an 8 or 10 player game cuz there's a my there in my game friend bubble here in LA, there are a lot of us that are like just loving Guards 2 and trying to get it to the table every week. So I think we're going to do one of those mega games soon and I can't wait.
glad to hear. Just make sure if you're playing with 8 players, so everybody is not new, because that
Oh
map is
yeah,
a bit
yeah.
harder to play.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. I won't go. Yeah, I won't go above 6 unless it's with experienced players for sure.
Speaking of which, I have a new answer to the previous question. So you
Okay.
said like what was the most challenging?
Yes.
Most challenging is making people believe you when you're saying that start with 1-star characters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like we have a slight meme in the Discord. The meme is like experienced board gamer. It's
Yeah,
like a phrase. Like it's like somebody new comes in. Like so we're gonna play. Like which characters would you recommend? We're like
yeah,
the recommended one in the rulebook, and
yeah,
they're like
yeah.
but we're experienced board gamers. Yeah, like still the still the recommended ones, please.
Yeah, and that is no joke. Like, I think I've read your response to somebody on a forum in BGG, like saying that, and I'm all about that. I'm following that. It makes so much sense because I've played almost all of the level 1 heroes, and I still feel like I'm going to be in this zone for a bit before I feel comfortable jumping to level 2s, but they're so exciting. Like there's so
Yep.
many of them that I'm like so excited to get into, but I'm like I'll get there. I'll get there. That's funny because yeah, a lot of people when we're experienced gamers, so I'm just gonna jump into 2 or 3. Don't do it. Don't
Yeah,
do it.
and, and they're like, "Whoa, why the game took like 4 hours?" Well, I mean, which characters have you played?
Oh, outside of, I mean, you kind of already mentioned a bunch, but outside of your biggest challenges and figuring out the how to do the branching for leveling up, did you have any other like aha moments at any point with Guards 1 or Guards 2?
All the time, honestly. I mean, it would be really hard to kind of pinpoint something else. Like, I think understanding, like the lesson that which took a while to learn was like understanding how to find the fun part in your game and make it like also be the focus. Because like it's not a new, it's a very common advice. Again, like I think I've heard it like from Mark Rosewater, for example, in his podcast like hundreds of times. It's like make sure that like the efficient way to play your game is also like the fun one. But it took me like several years to kind of
Get it
develop the
dialed in.
design into actually hopefully following this idea, right? So I guess that.
Yeah, that like making sure you have that fun factor. And I think that's why so many people are enjoying it and wanting to play it over and over because it is fun. You have exciting moments, and it's a team game too. Like, there aren't a ton of team-based games that aren't just party games. I shouldn't say just party games, but party games. Party games, yeah, there are tons of team games, but there aren't as many games of this caliber and this complexity, and with all these asymmetric heroes and everything that are team based, and it's there's a fun factor just there too.
Speaking of team, it's also interesting because that's is interesting to me because MOBAs, I think that was decision like right from the get go. It's like we're making a game for a lot of players because MOBAs are that. I mean, they're about that. They're about
Yeah.
like playing with a team of friends against the team of not friends online, but friends on board game
Right,
form, which is
right.
great. Uh, and and so it was always there. And it's rarely done, which is surprising. But I think for guards, it's actually saved this game because guards can be, I'm sure you already noticed, can be very punishing. It's fair, I hope, but
Yeah.
punishing.
Yeah.
And what the team component does is it's a lot less, it's a lot more fun to lose as a team than to lose alone.
Sure.
So it doesn't feel nearly as bad as it could have been, like when things don't go your way. And
Right.
it's a game of mistakes, right? Like things will
Yes.
go wrong,
Yes.
like
Yes.
inevitably. Like
Witness.
it
Witness.
it doesn't matter how you play. Like I mean, we have players like who have played hundreds of games of cards. They're still making like mistakes, right? It's inevitable. But when you lost, and also the buddy of mine lost, we just lost together. Like next time we'll get them. It's just easier to kind of you know let it
Yeah,
go, I
to
guess.
accept that loss. Yeah. And I find that the those moments where things don't go as planned, like, they end up just being very memorable. Like, I had on the very first action of one game, I had I forget who I was playing, but I ended up pulling one of the opposite team's heroes close to me, or I had to push them or something, and then they ended up killing my teammate because, like, and I was like, oh no, and we're playing the short game, so I could not recover from it, but it was just, I will always remember that.
Yeah, but like this tells me that your player group is the right group for the game because
Yes.
this is the healthy approach. It's like you make a mistake,
Yeah.
everybody laughs, and you keep rolling, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, but it's not just failures. Like victories also like are a lot, I think, cooler when it's you and somebody else because you have somebody to share it with. So you like
Yes.
cheer together, and not
Yes.
like I won and you all lost.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it is cool because you will have these different like synergies, and you're not talking to each other when you start playing those cards, but when your team can make something cool happen, that's also like really memorable and satisfying.
like after several games, I think one of the very like cool moments I hear often from playtesters and some feedback as well that when you start mind melding with your team, you're like you're not really discussing things, but you're like
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and then you play a card, you reveal them, and you're like yes,
Yes,
and
you
you
did.
don't
Yeah,
say anything. You're like
yeah. Right,
and then it
right.
just clicks, and I think like I often ask myself like how come that people still play like in Discord, right? It's
Mhm.
weird. Like I'm legit. I want to know because I want to
Yeah.
repeat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still don't know, but maybe this is it. Maybe that's the thing. I don't. We'll
I
see.
I mean, I think it is. I think it is that, and just everything, like the hand management with the card leveling up, all of the different heroes and the team interaction and finding those synergies and mind melding with your teammate is like really really cool, and it's addictive. Like, it's like every time I
Yeah.
play, I'm like, I want to play this game again. Like, I want to play this game again. So there's something in there like catnip or something.
You should come to our Discord. We have games
I
every day.
will. Yeah, yeah. I'll jump on there cuz yeah, that might be the way I get to play it more often, you know. Let's talk about the art and graphic design. I love the board. I love the characters. I mean, the minis are great for the characters. The player boards are awesome too. The art is just fantastic. So, how were the art and graphic design decisions made?
Oof. um, so funny story. So it started in Guards 1. Basically, we decided for whatever reason that it would be cool to kind of show every card as like evolving story if we can. So tier 1 is like showing some action, and then like next card is like that action develops slightly. And
Yeah.
it felt cool when we had like 9 characters. It was still a lot. It was still a lot.
Yeah.
We had to work with a bunch of artists because like one artist cannot do that amount of art within like reasonable time frame. Uh, but what we didn't realize is that eventually we're gonna have 32 characters, and like the amount of art this game requires is the main culprit for why we take so long to deliver usually the
Yeah,
campaigns,
that
because
that makes sense.
that's I think the most time consuming thing is like basically to work with every artist, like come to understanding like what needs to be done.
Yeah.
A lot of art is done by our in-house artist. So what we do, how we try to keep the consistency. Like if you look at the dashboards, for example, for
Mhm.
heroes, there will be a lot more in line, right, with one, because they're all done by the same artist.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because that's the component that you see next to the board. So we want to try to kind of tie them together, even though we have a lot of artists working on this game. I think if we combine all the editions and versions, I think by now it's maybe like 12. No, not 12. It was just 10 in the last one. Yeah, I think it's like 18
Wow.
people at least. You know,
Wow. Like that's fascinating because it still looks so cohesive. Like if you told me the same artist did it all, I'd be like, yeah. But I know what you
yeah,
mean. Like it's so much time and it's I mean the time you guys have spent on it has been worth it.
yeah. Thank you. We're there for art, and you ask like how the our like decisions are made. My favorite is when the artist is driving it. So basically, it doesn't always work, but I'm trying like to. This is my default. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, so let me tell you about this character. This character is this and this. Here's the like concept art. We ask our in-house artists to do the concept art for the character, so other artists,
yeah.
know how it looks, and then we basically like, okay, on this card, the character is doing this, this, and this, and then like, if you have ideas, like go ahead. If not, like maybe you can do something like that.
Yeah.
And then the best results are when artists is like taking this and then just like puts themselves into this. And then like if you look at the cards, a bunch of cards and cards have like small, tiny like Easter eggs. Like I don't know, you have a if you look at there's a character called Tali. She's like a winter fox, and so she has ice tokens. If you look at the ice tokens on the ice inside, there will be like a skeleton, a mammoth, and something else, and a minion,
So
I think.
cool. Yeah.
So I didn't like ask for it. It's just artists are like, what about we do this?
Yeah.
And that's I think my favorite kind of approach to it. But sometimes an artist is like, okay, what do you want? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like
Yeah.
this, and this, and they're like, okay,
Okay,
here.
I
I'm
will
like,
do that. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you look at the schedule and you're like, okay, you promised to deliver the crowdfunding like in October. Okay.
Not gonna happen.
No, but I
That's
like
cool.
we're trying our best with the time we have, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really happy that you seem to be enjoying the result of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who does the graphic design? Is that your in-house artist or someone different?
Yes, usually the Vic is doing the most of the graphic design, and but this is like I think I'm sort of involved in this. This we do basically. She's doing the work. I'm
Gotcha.
doing the backseat driving basically. Uh, yeah.
Cool. How, I guess, and when, and I'm sure we're going like back 10 years, did you guys come up with the name Guards of Atlantis?
Okay. It's a funny and long story. Uh, it was not me. It was before I actually joined Wolff Designa.
Okay.
Uh, I think one of the guys who were the creators, basically the original owners of Wolff Designa, they one of them was like this idea for like a world. I think he actually even commissioned a book for it or something,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's the so remember I was saying I had like assets, right, to work with.
Yes,
So I
yes.
had this as well. It's like here's the world. I'm like here here are the characters.
Yeah, yeah.
It helped. It helped because I could pick like I mean here are all this like the species that are in this world. I'm like okay, so we have I can have a cat person. I can have this.
Yeah.
It kind of helped
Yeah.
because in MOBA you want like the very like the diverse cast of like characters who
Gotcha.
are like ideally like not alike,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so the name came from there.
Gotcha.
It was originally in Russian, poorly translated.
Okay.
Because normally people expect like Guardians of Atlantis, I guess, would sound more like sometimes people
I
even
hear
like
people saying that by mistake so much.
exactly. But I think it was actually like a stroke of luck because like if you Google like Guards of Atlantis, it's very likely you're gonna get our game. Like unlikely you're gonna get something else,
Right.
which really helps. And
Yeah.
sometimes like when we're making like some other game, it's like I mean it's not that easy to come up with a name, which is like
Right.
you Google it and then you get that. So it's a bit same with Wolff Designer, right? It's like what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but, but I mean, we rolled with it, and after like 10 something years, it's just you get used to it, and that is cool.
Cool, cool. At what point did you and the team at Wolff Designa like realize? I guess we'll talk about when you were about to launch crowdfunding for the first printing of Guards of Atlantis II. At what point did you feel like, okay, we're ready to get this going and push it out the door?
It was funny. So first of all, initially, the Guards 2 was supposed to be a standalone expansion for Guards 1. We didn't even plan to make a second game. Then I was looking at it and I knew some of the problems. And at some point I'm coming to the other guys and like, hey, let's just spend some more time and redo everything.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things is like essentially self-publishing, right? Is like I have a lot. Well, I mean, I'm not the only person in the team, right? But I have a lot of say in like creative control
Cool.
and like design things. So and like when I'm like, okay, guys, we like if we spend like that many much more time, the
Yeah.
result will be better, and we usually go for it. Basically, so the answer to your initial question was we just play test it until it's like, okay, this is pretty good. We can show it to people. But the
Yeah.
funny story is that I started like making extra characters. So after those initial 11, I'm like, let's do another box with 11 more, right? So you can get
Yeah.
this box or you can get this box. And then I'm like, in Guards, in the original one, there were 4 cards in your hand, and the fifth one was a pass card. The
Oh.
silver card was not there. It was actually 4 cards, not
Oh.
5.
Oh. Okay.
And I'm like, what if we just add a small effect to this card?
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's
I'm like,
cool.
like I made one of the new characters. I made it with the silver card came to be. It used to be a hold card,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, well, I guess I need to go back now and do the same with with the previous characters. So I went
Yeah.
back and I'm like, well, I'm now making 22 new characters instead of 11.
Yeah.
My job just got like 4 times harder. um,
Worth
and
it.
apparently, apparently I never learned. So when we were doing the second printing, I did the same, but now I redid 22 characters because
Oh no.
it I mean it wasn't as crazy, but so it's kind of efficient when you do crowdfunding to just like pull the lever, print another print run, and just push it, right? But that's
Mm-hmm.
also the advantage of crowdfunding because we print, we sell everything. We have very few these days. We used to have more, but it never worked. So now we don't usually have a lot of extra stuff. So we sell everything, and then okay, there seems to be more demand for the game.
Mm-hmm.
We can make a new print run, but I don't have any stock left. So that means that I can actually improve on the game. And like if you ask a designer, can you improve on the game? And he says no, I don't believe him. Like you can always improve. Like
Yeah.
you can work on the game for 50 years and still find things to improve. And so like, and we're just using this opportunity. We almost never do like just straight reprints. So we
Yeah.
normally do like another print and then we do like an update pack or something. So I guess, but I gave my word to myself to not do it in the next printing because I don't think I can survive making 44 new characters.
Oh wow. So Artie, I mean you've shared so much cool advice on your process for designing games. That's really, really helpful, and it's just fascinating for me as someone who loves the game, and I'm sure other fans of the game. But do you have any advice for someone out there who might be interested in designing a team-based strategy game?
First of all, I have like very few games that I've made. So the advice I'm giving, be, be careful with that. It might work for me, but
Fair,
there
fair.
are a bunch of people who are more knowledgeable, right? So maybe I'm talking nonsense. So I think the main thing for team games is find a way to get rid of the alpha gamer problem, right? You need to make sure that you solve this. So we
Yeah.
solve this with communication restrictions, but whatever approach you use, I guess this should be the focus. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess
Make sure
that thing.
nobody's been like, "Hey, you do this, you do that. I'm going to do this." Yeah, the
Yeah,
quarterbacking.
because like another like team game which is not like straight like party game would be like Captain Summer, for example. So they solve it by real time. You just won't be able to. Like you
Right.
can try, but good luck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think this is probably the kind of maybe not the main point, but a very important one that you should absolutely not miss. Like make sure you have a solution to not turn it into like one person just controlling the rest.
That makes a lot of sense, and I know you're saying like, "Oh, it's just a little bit of advice," but that's like really important to consider if you're going to make a team game, cuz yeah, you a lot of people think about that alpha gamer problem with co-ops, but what is a team game? Co-op and co-op, like co-op team versus co-op. So like that is really cool, and I love the limited communication once everybody flips their cards over, you know?
And it's funny, like it's I wouldn't say controversial, but I hear every now and then people who are like really do we need to follow these rules? And I'm like, yeah, you do. Like,
Yeah. This is the way. Yeah, yeah. One other thing I'm just curious about now that we're just talking about the limited communication is the initiative on the cards. Like how did you decide on like which cards should have faster initiative, slower initiative? And I love the tiebreak system. It's just so clean and easy. It's like, oh, now it's your turn to go. So how did that all kind of come into play?
okay, so um, this one is I touched on it earlier. It's one of those bones basically. I have this basically preset values for specific slots. So when I'm making a character, I'm like, okay, so you have a gold card and it's fastest always. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have a blue one is next, and then red one, and then green one, and then silver can be anything. And basically, I set the values for the character. So usually from theme, like if it's like a big troll, apparently he'll be like high defense and like
Right.
low movement, whatever. And you have to do it because otherwise you will lose the player because player connects, with like how he perceives the character and
Mm-hmm.
the expectations of what you're gonna get. Like they cannot be too far apart.
Right.
Um, so, and I set those values, and it's just a value like 1 to 8,
Yeah.
and then that value tells me uh, essentially every number on every card. Like it's preset. Like I have a table. It's very simple. Saves me time. So I don't
Cool.
like I don't like custom change every initiative value. Like I don't need to do it. Like it's
Yeah.
I did it once and I changed it a few times over the design. Like in Guards 1 it was different.
Okay.
Like I updated the spreads were kind of, but it was always like in mass. Like it's like I was changing essentially all the spreads, not specific character.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So sometimes I do like custom, like if like you can do some like pinpoint balance if you really need to, but I
Mm-hmm.
try to avoid it because the system helps players when they play more. They start to kind of get used to those. Like again, it's not written in the rule book, but after like a couple of games, you're like, oh, my gold card is my fastest card, and like
Yeah.
everybody's fastest
Gold.
card really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so he kind of played a gold, he can still go fast. Like I might not remember or know like what the value is, but I know it's going to be like high probably. So I try not to break that because sometimes I do. If like sometimes character demands it, there are some exceptions, but normally I try to stick to those because those heuristics kind of help players not get lost.
Yeah, yeah. That makes so much sense. And also, I love that you tie it to the thematic element of the character. Like I'm trying to remember, is it Tiger Claw that like will like slash and then move? Like there's so many cool thematic um like elements to how these characters work that's just so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to play the other ones.
Who's your favorite character in the basic game?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say Zargatha, probably.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, oh, but then I like Wasp also. It's hard. I don't think I've played Brogan. Like, he's kind of fun, and I haven't played Tiger Claw. Dodger's cool. I don't know. Ask me at the end of the year. I'll have a more concrete opinion.
All right, all right.
Awesome. Well, Arty, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing like the backstory for how you and the team at Wolff Designa created Guards of Atlantis 2 and Guards of Atlantis. Is there anything else that you're working on for Guards? I mean, you mentioned there were like 3 more heroes in the works, or anything else you're working on that you'd
Not
like to
30.
share.
Not 30. Yeah, 30. I will not survive 30. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure. It was very fun.
Cool.
But what we're working on, the idea is to have 1 or 2 hero packs and maybe some other things. I'm not sure, but definitely there will be 1 or 2 hero packs eventually when it's done. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no date.
I mean, take your time because, like I said, I still have to play through all of the other ones anyway. Like,
Yeah,
we all have plenty to chew on for now.
yeah, and it's funny that it's a bit the challenge of crowdfunding. It's a good challenge to have, I guess. That sometimes people come in and they're like, okay, so like this game there's a base game and there's 5 hero packs and they're like, how much does it cost again? And I'm like, you don't need it all, and
Yeah,
they just don't trust you. They like,
yeah.
I'm like,
We're
in the first
completionists.
game we had like 11 characters and it still will like last you for a while.
Yeah.
Like in the first campaign, we had 3 hero packs, and that was all in. Like you don't need 5 hero packs.
Right.
It's just a lot of content. And I'm now slightly fearful what will happen in the next one because we're gonna have 7 now. So.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. Everybody's gonna have to figure that out, like not jump too far ahead, but or just do it and see what's happening. You know, even though it's not recommended. But yeah, the characters. I mean, I get excited hearing that there are more on the way, even though like I know realistically in a year from now, I will, even if I play this game every week, I will not have like played every character or mastered them or come close, you know? There is a lot of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Thanks.
And yeah, maybe we can discuss the new characters when I have something more concrete. But
yeah, absolutely. And I'll join your Discord as well. Is there anything
Please
else
do.
that is there anything else you're working on that you want to mention?
It's a cool game designed by a friend of mine where I'm like doing like a lot of development on it. I am not ready to share much details just yet, but it's coming.
Cool.
And it will be like there will be something for Guards players. Like it has some surprisingly some common ground with Guards, even though I wasn't the designer.
Ooh,
so
nice.
Very excited to reveal it eventually, but not just yet.
Not yet. Awesome. And
I need to keep the suspense, you know.
Yeah. Well, Arty, thanks again so much. It was great talking to you. And
thank you.
I don't know if you ever get out to any conventions like Essen or Gen Con or anything, but
this year we're gonna be at Essen and we're gonna be at PAX Unplugged. But for PAX Unplugged, I don't think we got confirmation yet. But if anyone spots us, anyone listening, or like come say hi.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and it was absolutely amazing.
Thank you all for tuning in to Cardboard Creations. Hopefully it's been as inspiring and fascinating for you as it has been for me. And remember, the only way to get something done is to start doing it. Boom.